Very cool.
Buddhatma Sayujjeta Jayakatham. Anyone like to try? Vastata Satonyata Lipta Bhagodhatma Ayujeta Jayakatham. Do you usually do word for word also? Deshataha, circumstantial. Kalataha, having fullness of time. Yeah, one. So the living entity. Avastataha, by situation. Sataha, by dream. Anyataha, by others. Avilupta, extinct. Avabodha, consciousness. Atma, of yourself. Sa, he. Yusyeta, engaged. Ataya, with nations. Katam, how is it so? Translation. The pure soul, that's pure consciousness and is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does he become engaged in nescience? Would anyone like to read the purport?
Read the first 4 verses too, because we didn't read them. We didn't start this chapter yet, right? Can we read them too? So we just know what's going on. Did you have when you were in class?
Yeah.
Read all the verses.
I don't know.
It was just a single verse.
Yeah, well, no, it's actually 20 verses. And then this is the main verse out of the 20. Do you want to read all 20?
Well, we take turns.
Okay.
And then we focus on.
Okay, yeah, you can read all the 20 if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, we take turns.
Yeah, well, you can go ahead. You start the first one.
We'll alternate. Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, while Maitreya, the great sage, was thus speaking, Vidura, the learned son of Vaidmayana Vyas, expressed the request in a pleasing manner by asking this question. Sri Vidura said, O great Brahmana, since the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a complete spiritual whole and is unchangeable, how is he connected with the material modes of nature and their antecedents? If this is his pastime, how do the activities of the unchangeable take place and exhibit qualities without the modes of nature?
Boys are enthusiastic to play with other boys, or in various diversions, to because they are encouraged by desire. There is no possibility of such desire for the Lord because he is self-satisfied and detached from everything at all times.
By yourself sheltered from the sea, three modes of illumination. The Lord's cause of creation is the first. By her, he maintains the creation in its first and also at the end.
Your soul is your conscious soul. Circumstances, time, situation, dreams, or other causes, how then does he become engaged in
The Lord has secured the Lord has ordained to keep his soul, situated in every living heart. Why then do the living entities activities result in this work? Shrimadeva Goswami said, O King Maitreya, being thus agitated by inquisitive Vidura, at first seemed astonished, but then he replied to him without hesitation, since he was fully God conscious.
Maitreya said, certain conditioned souls put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or maya, and at the same time they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic.
The living entity is in distress regarding his self-identity. He has no factual background, like men who dreams, head cut off.
As the moon reflected on water appears to the seer and tremble due to being associated with the quality of the water, so the self associated with matter appears to be qualified as matter.
By that misconception of self and things can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the personality of Vasudeva through the process of devotional service to the Lord and the Lord.
The personality of Godhead and merged in him. All misery and completely faithful, as after a sound. Simply by carefully maintaining of the transferring from form, etc. of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, conscious Shiva, the possession of the unlimited miserable condition. Therefore, let us speak of those who have attained protection for any that grateful, but the best of the Lord would
Vidura said, O powerful sage, my Lord, all my doubts about the supreme personality of Godhead or the entity have now been removed by convincing words. My mind is now perfect and free.
Oh, learned sage, your explanations are very good, as they should be. Disturbances to the conditioned soul have no other basis than the movement of the external energy of the world.
Both the lowest of fools and he who is transcendent to all intelligence enjoys happiness, whereas persons between them suffer with zero.
But my dear sir, I'm obliged to you because now I can understand that this material manifestation is without substance, although it appears real. I'm confident that by serving your feet, it will be possible for me to give up the false idea.
By serving the feet of the spiritual master, one is enabled to develop transcendental ecstasy in the service of the personality of God, who is the unchangeable enemy of the modern demon and whose service vanquishes most material distresses.
Singh's misery is near Arctic. You are progressing on the path to your devotees may glorifying the Supreme Lord, the Lord of the gods, the color of all of the
Maybe we should add purpose.
The consciousness of the living being is always present, it never changes under any circumstances, as well mentioned. When a living man moves from one place to another, he is conscious that he has changed his position. He is always present in the past, present, and future, like electricity. One can remember incidents from his past and can conjecture about his future, also on the basis of past experience. He never forgets his personal identity, even though he is placed in awkward circumstances. How then can the living entity become forgetful of his real identity as pure spirit soul, identified with master, unless influenced by something beyond himself? The conclusion is that the living entity is influenced by the Avidya potency. As confirmed in both the Vishnu Purana and the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, the living entity is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Canto 7, Chapter 5, as Para Prakriti. No, that's wrong. And in the Vishnu Purana, he is mentioned as the Para Shakti. He is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord as potency and not as the potent. The potent can exhibit many potencies, but the potency cannot equal the potent at any stage. One potency may be overcome by another potency, but to the potent, all potencies are under control. The Jiva potency, or the Shretra, I can speak, Shretra Shakti of the Lord, has the tendency to be overpowered by the external potency, Avidya Kama Samjira. And in this way, he is placed in the awkward circumstances of material existence. The living entity cannot be forgetful of his real identity unless influenced by the avidya potency. Because the living entity is prone to the influence of the avidya potency, he can never equal the supreme potency.
The translation again is the pure soul. Consciousness is never out of consciousness, either due to circumstances, time, situations, dreams, or other causes. How then does it become engaged in consciousness? Can you hear me? So when I was reading this chapter, it reminded me of this four Shloki. So there's those four seed verses in the Bhagavatam that encapsulates the essence of the entire Bhagavatam. Similar to the Chatur Shloki in Bhagavad Gita. There's four verses in Gita that encapsulates the essence of the entire Gita. It's like a seed verse. So the seed verse, just like you plant a seed, and it grows into this big tree. So even though it's just four verses, when you plant those four verses, it grows into this huge book, Bhagavatam, which is 18,000 verses. And the Gita is four Chatusloki, plant the seed, and grows into the entire book, 700 verses. So this topic is actually covered in that Chatusloki in the Bhagavatam. There's essentially four topics in the Chatusloki. So, the first topic is that Krishna is the source
everything. He existed before creation, existed after creation. He's also the source of creation. I am the source. Everything that emanates from me. I'm the source. That's the first truth. So what else can there be other than that? So the mystery of spiritual knowledge is that you can have contradictions and the contradictions can be reconciled, but then you can still have the contradictions at the same time. So that's the beauty of our philosophy, is that it's inconceivable. It's a chintya. And we can't use our mind to actually understand the Lord. It's not a simple thing. It's beyond the confinement of our tiny brain, as Prabhupada used to say. So it's actually very important to know that, because our philosophy is not a debating philosophy. We are not trying to debate with everyone. We're just trying to touch people's hearts and to attract them back to Krishna. Because if we get into the debating culture, what happens is the ego flares up. And so it's a battle of the ego, which ego can win, right? So, but if we understand the simple point, that's a chintya, then what is the point of debating? We can't even understand. We have to take shelter, we have to surrender and accept that our material mind, sorry, my throat is problems, is incapable to understand fully. In the Shastras explained, it's like a dwarf trying to reach the moon, or the bird trying to drink up all the water of the ocean. Right? It's impossible. So the second verse, the Chaturshloki, essentially says that if it appears to not have come from me, that is called Maya, illusion. Now, how can you have something that's separate from the Lord if the Lord is the source of everything? So Prabhupada gives the analogy that just like the sun can exist separately from the shadow, Maya can exist as a shadow of Krishna. So without the sun, you can't have a shadow, right? It can't exist. But the sun, does the sun create the shadow? Not directly, right? So you have the cloud, the sky, then the sun, and the cloud is blocking the sun, it's a shadow. But the sun doesn't create the shadow directly. So, yes, the sun is the source of everything, because the shadow can't exist without the sun. At the same time, the shadow is not coming from the sun. So simultaneously, it's coming from Krishna and stuff. And the third verse, which is the Sachintya, Veda Veda Tattva. Has anyone heard of that term, Achintya Veda Veda Tattva? Anyone has not heard of that? So Achintya Veda Veda Tattva means that Krishna creates everything, including Maya, directly.
Even the cloud.
And even the cloud. He creates everything. So everything is the Krishna. Right? But in the third verse, Krishna says that, yes, everything is me, but I am not in them. So they are in me, I am them, yet they're not in me, and I'm not in them. That's the Chinta Veda Veda. That Krishna's energies are the same as Krishna. At the same time, they're not. And one of his energies is us. And that's one of the big differences between our philosophy and so many other philosophies, New Age philosophies, which says that we can become God, and that we are God. We say that, and the reason why they say that is because they accept the first verse as the truth, But they're using their the small brains, that how can we not be God? Right? If God created everything, God is the source of everything, then I'm God, and God is me. You know, it's like, but that's because they're using the small brain. But it's a chintya bheda. That Krishna, he has the ability to expand into all of us. They all come from him. And at the same time, we are not him. So we are him and we're not him. That's the third verse. The fourth verse is actually, in my opinion, the most important. Is that what is the duty of all of us? The duty of all of us is to seek Krishna, to look for him, to approach him, take shelter, surrender, to reconnect, reunite, reestablish that relationship with him in all time and all circumstances. This is our duty for those who want to unite with Krishna. So Vidura is asking a lot of important questions here, saying that essentially what he's saying is, how does this third truth, us, how is it that the second truth, which is Maya, come over us if we're not Maya? Because we are Maya. Maya is Maya, but we're not Maya. So how is it that Maya can affect us if we're not Maya? So it all boils down to, in my opinion, desire. So ultimately, we are pure spiritual beings. We are all good, and we are servants of Krishna. Jiva Surabhoy Krishna Nityadas, that we are eternally servants of Krishna. That's our constitutional position, just like water is wet. You cannot separate wetness from water. You cannot separate identity from being the servant, not being the master, but being the servant. You can't separate that. So how is it that, if that's our nature, how is this like, how can water be hot? I mean, or how can water be fire? The two separate things, right? So how is that possible? That's what Buddha is asking. And it's possible by avidya, which is ignorance, which is samaya. That avidya creates something called the false ego. So we have the ego, which is the atma, who we really are, Jiva Surabhoy, Krishna, the servants. And you have the false ego, which is very subtle, but it is the concept that I am not the servant. So, if we have the desire to become God or to enjoy what God created, we cannot do that as the Atma. We have to do that as the Ahamkar, which is the false ego. And that Ahamkar is very subtle. It's so subtle. It's not as subtle as the soul, but it's so subtle. I'll give you an example or explanation of how subtle it is. When we leave the spiritual world, we have been given this ahamkar, false ego. And that false ego stays with us forever. We might have unlimited material bodies. Obviously, see, we're born, we grow old, and we die. And it's very easy to see, and it happens very frequently, even outside of the cockroaches, worms, and they're dying every day, and they're giving birth every day. That's not hard to understand. But just imagine, we have all had unlimited material bodies, but one ahamkar, one false ego, which means that false ego that we have had will stay with us after we die, when we get another material body. That we all have the same ahamkar, even though we'll have a different material body. So, that is how the ahamkar is with us since time immemorial. That it's almost like the ahamkar is us. Because we never leaves us. We don't know what life is like without the ahankara. We've been identifying with the false ego for eons, for ages, for eternity. Right? So just to understand, to actually become liberated from the false ego is basically like impossible. It is impossible. Even dying, giving up this material body is very difficult. When you see when people are leaving the body, so much suffering, right? It's unbelievable. You know, how much pain and suffering is involved with that, how much fear. So if that's so painful, and we've done that unlimited times, just imagine how painful it is to let go of false ego, which we've never done. We've never actually let go of false ego. That's so painful. So that's why when our pride is, when the false ego plays, it's pretty painful because it's so ingrained into who we think we are. To let go of false ego is a big challenge. Very, very big challenge. And actually, what Maitreya is saying in this conversation is that it is actually, without the Lord's help, it is impossible. You can't actually do it. The Lord, He has to intervene. The Lord is all powerful. He can do it easily. Snap of the fingers can do it, you know, instantaneously. But our job is to have the desire. So if we want to, then we will automatically engage in devotional service, shelter of Krishna, and we will reach out to Him, pray to Him, pray for help, pray for guidance. Krishna will send the spiritual master. But if we just take shelter of Krishna, the impossible becomes very easy. The example given in the Shastra is like a cat walking over the puddle in the small cat. And previously it was the entire ocean, but then it's reduced to the water contained of a small cat. That's because of Krishna's mercy. It's actually mercy, it's grace. It's His love for us that He makes it so easy to do it. So the process is really just, instead of surrendering to Maya, we surrender to Krishna. And those are two options, you know, Maya, Krishna. So when we surrender to Krishna, He will pick us up and take care of us. Of course, it's a gradual process to surrender. I was just thinking how when we're reading something or learning something, so much of what we're learning and hearing is and how it's impacting us is dependent on the quality, the character of that person speaking to us. So we have to see the source of what we're taking shelter of. You know, are they eternally liberated themselves? What are their characteristics? And then whatever that comes from that source is going to positively influence us. So we need to associate with people that's going to bring us back to Krishna. It's very simple, actually. Philosophy is very simple. It's very easy. Bhagavad Bhakti is very easy. We will go through a lot of suffering, no doubt, and go through a lot of tribulations. However, we don't have to worry about attaining the supreme goal once we take shelter. As long as we tolerate it and we don't become inimical and make offenses, we just continue to tolerate and we continue to serve. It's actually that easy. Just continue to serve, don't stop, and whatever impediments come upon us, we tolerate it. And it's an opportunity for us to actually surrender more to Krishna. If we do that, we're not in control. We don't have to orchestrate our liberation. Okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and I have to meditate for 1,000 years, and then I'm gonna fast for 20 days, and then I'm gonna chant. And then I will liberate myself. No. We just need to continue to serve and don't stop. That's it. And then Krishna takes care of the rest. He takes us home. He takes us back to God. Not, we don't do it ourselves. He does it for us. These great personalities are they are showing us what they are the characteristics of people who have taken shelter for it. And that's important to you to know, and to see, and to observe, and appreciate. Because they are the ambassadors of Krishna. You can see Krishna through them. And Vidura is a perfect example. His life story is amazing. We don't have time to get into every detail, but you know, these great personalities, they see these reversals or quote unquote negative attributes of their life in a positive way. They see it as a blessing. Everything is a blessing. Vidura was born as an illegitimate child of a servant lady in the palace in the kingdom. Yet we know that he was the Yamaraj himself, Dharmaraj. He was the king of Dharma. He was the lord of death himself. And he had such a low birth. I think about it, it was a very low birth. Illegitimate child from a servant lady. He wasn't even the heir of the king. It was Vasudev and the servant lady. Same way Prahlad, who was in the Devonian dynasty. It's like being the son, the child of like Hitler or something. You know? But much worse, actually. Hiranyakashipu was even worse, much worse than that. Just imagine if you're the son. It's like how, like, it's like, gosh, why? Like, I'm so contaminated just being born in that family. You know? It's like so shameful. So shameful. And you have Prahlad, he saw that as a blessing. He didn't have any resentment. So Krishna, why did you give birth in such a family? He never complained. It was like he used that as opportunity to cultivate humility. He said, I'm so low. What is the chance of me actually taking darshan of Krishna? I'm born in the family of asuras, demons. So he took that as a blessing. Vidura took it as a blessing. When he was in the courtyard, when Draupadi was being disrobed, and he spoke up. He said, nobody was speaking up. Dhritarashtra wasn't speaking up. Draupadi's husband's, not even Bhima. He was the only person who actually said something. This is unacceptable in an Aryan cultured family. How can this happen? And Duryodhana, for those of you who know the story, he essentially was blasting Vidura. I mean, just the most. Vidura is his uncle. In those days, elders are like God. I mean, I don't know if you those of you who are from those cultures where elders are revered highly. We don't see that so much in the Western culture, but like the Japanese cultures, you'll see that. I remember I had one Korean friend. Oh my God. I went to his house and he bowed to his father. Every time, like him and his father were very distant. But if he entered the room, he would stand and bow to his father. I mean, can you imagine? Well, you're from Western family. Yeah. Do you do that to your father? Like, wow. Your father. So just imagine, it's in that culture, right? And Duryodhana said, to his uncle, who's his elder. He said, "You are the son of a slave. How can you speak to me?" Just imagine in that culture how that would have been perceived. And Vidura's reaction was he smiled. He said, "This was the will of the Lord, this arrangement." He left. He picked up, he actually put his crown, his arrows, bow, whatever he had, put it down, and left it there. And he left. Just walked out of the palace. Saying, I had nothing to do with any of this. I'm leaving. And it was a smile. He wasn't angry, he wasn't bitter, he smiled. Oh, Krishna, look at you, look how amazing you are. He put this amazing blessing in circumstance. And so I would rather be the son of a slave and live my life in honor than be born as a kingly prince and live my life in dishonor. That's what he said. For him, living a life in honor is much greater than anything else he could ever hope for, imagine for. So he was very, very happy to be living his life in honor, regardless of his material situation. So many examples. Actually, Queen Kunti prays in the first canto, that these things that we're all hankering for, all fame, beauty, intelligence, wisdom, high parentage, education, these things that we're like dying for it, you know, people are like foaming at the mouth, I would say, foaming at the mouth, a little muddy. Money is the honey. So these things, Queen Kunti said, these things are major roadblocks to take yourself to Krishna. Don't give me any of that. Don't give me beauty. Don't give me wealth. Don't give me fame. Don't give me education. Don't give me any of these things. Because all of these things are opportunities or fuel that will allow the hankar, you know, the ego, false ego, the life of the hankar to burn, you know, just grow bigger and bigger and bigger. The more the hankar it's kind of like what comes up must go down, right? The more Queen Kunti is saying these things of wealth, fame, intelligence, and beauty, you know, the more we have, it's like we're being inflated like a hot air balloon, woo, and going higher and higher and higher. And then you poke it, you pop it, it's like when you fall, you're dead. But if you pop it when you're just a little bit off the ground, you can still survive. No. So yeah. So Zen Maestro Sudhasiva Edamam one. These are all, you know, these are all actually curses. So these great souls, so we should follow in their footsteps. We should see everything, any reversal in our life, we should see it as a blessing. If we can do that and continue to serve the Lord, then he'll do all the hard work. He'll take us back home. He'll pick us up. He'll bring us home, back to Godhead. We don't have to do it. It's not our job. But we can't do it. We don't have that ability. We are anu. Krishna's Vibhu. Vibhu means great. We are so small that we have no power. But if we can give, we can basically let the power, some greater power take over. So Maya is very powerful. Krishna is very powerful. Krishna is more powerful. But we can't conquer Maya. We can't actually conquer Krishna. We love him. That's one thing. So actually, if you think about it, the supreme controller, if he wants something, then he's subordinate to that thing, right? Just like if you're in need of something, that means it's not the supreme. But Krishna wants love. Yet he's also the supreme. So we can conquer Krishna. We can't conquer Maya, but we can conquer Krishna. So if there's no hope of conquering Maya, why don't we just try conquering Krishna? Our rates of success are much, much greater. And we are so small that we have to take shelter of something bigger than us. We have to. We cannot be independently powerful. We have to take shelter. We have to. If we don't, then we have to surrender at the time of death to fear, to pain, to misery, depression. We have to surrender to something. So why not surrender to Krishna? And conquer him at the same time. One of my favorite quotes by Prabhupada is, let's become greater than Krishna. People say that a few times. No, we'll become greater than Krishna. Of course, that's a very high level.
What is this idea of becoming God?
Yeah.
We want to become greater than God.
So yeah, we can have some questions. Yeah, or comments. Yeah. But the microphone. Oh yeah.
Hare Krishna, what a beautiful class. I mean, that last point, so many points, but really the last one really hit me in my heart. I'll just repeat it as I heard it. We can't conquer Maya, but through loving devotion, we can conquer Krishna, and he can conquer Maya. In my experience, Maya, my attachment for material things and my inclinations towards things that don't support my service to Krishna, I know that Krishna can help me overcome them, but one of Maya's tricks is to make me think that he can't. So then, or how do I had it more clear in my mind when I raised my hand. Yeah, just feeling like, anyways, that might be enough.
So one question that could be asked, not that we're asking it, but is if these things that are taking us away from devotional service are there in our life, and and they're not going away, how do we get rid of them? Right?
Yeah, we can like serve Krishna and Krishna can get rid of them, but they're
Right.
making me not
Yeah.
like serve Krishna.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's-
So the answer that I've heard, which I like a lot, is if you don't want to love Krishna, you should want to love Krishna.
Yeah.
So ultimately it's a desire. So if you don't want to get rid of these things, then I agree with you. I mean, I can empathize. There's so many things that I don't want to get rid of. I want to keep. But I want to. I want to get to that stage where I actually want to do that, right? So at least we can do that. Or we can want to. But with some level of desire should be there, right? That is actually, if we are sincere, then we can get to some level of want. But some level of want we can get to. Like this was some hope. But it's like a very good question. And it is a gradual process because our desire isn't so intense. But even if we want to, eventually Krishna will take us back.
What does that process look like from going from wanting to want to then wanting to, like, how does that happen?
It's this gradual process, but you'll feel the fire in your heart grow. Like the more it's harder for you to live without Krishna in your life. Means you're getting closer to the want to. And so the want to is just a very small spark. This is a small little fire that's kind of kindling, right? As the fire is growing, you can want to. So you just feel the fire, and life has its way of increasing that desire. We don't, sometimes we don't even have to. If we just hang around long enough and don't leave, that's the key, not to leave. And so a lot of people, they leave the process. But if you just don't leave,
Even if you're following.
even if you just like you're making mistakes left and right, but if you just stay, that's it, just stay. You know? 1%, 2%, 3%, just don't leave. That Krishna ultimately will take you. And you'll that and he'll increase that desire, it will grow brighter and brighter in our hearts. He'll actually fan it. And the way he does it is he'll put you through circumstances where you just get so fried. You're just like, oh my God, Krishna, I never want, you know, a Corvette again.
Oh
Never want a
my
Lamborghini again, you know? Yeah. Or I never want to be famous again. You know, some famous people, you actually increase your chances of getting killed. Do you realize that? Why do we want to be famous? It's crazy, it's a curse. Fame is a curse, right? I pray that none of you become famous. I pray that none of you become wealthy.
Whoa.
I categorically deny this prayer.
Yes, go ahead.
I
I'm partially joking.
I had a question and a comment. I guess comment first because it's related to this topic, but question also related to what we just spoke about. I'm very confused now which one to speak first. Well, the question, I'll throw it out first, is that, yeah, exactly when because Prabhu said that wealth, good education, beauty, all of what, you know, fame, all of these things are curses for us. What to do if you're cursed? What to do if you are cursed? And, you know, there are plenty of people in this world who have, by past some kind of karma kind of activities, have obtained those things. And, you know, it's very, very easy to get puffed up. So what to do? And the comment was, actually I had a little answer that came to my mind, or something that came to my mind when you asked that. I feel like this is not really emphasized a lot since, well, I got here, because, you know, we're very merciful, like Doreen said, very merciful. Like we're not always putting ourselves to a very high standard, but I had that experience when I first joined Krishna consciousness. And it actually served me well, because to some degree, if we actually mechanically hold ourselves up to a certain standard and we just do it, you may not want to do it, you don't want to, but you just do it, then that desire actually comes because you get a taste for it. And so that's actually a much quicker way to obtain that desire and purification and shedding of those bad habits than just letting life knock you over. I feel like when life really knocks you over, that's when that method, when that desire or when that misunderstanding, it's become fructified karma. Like when it's really something you cannot let go of, even if you tried, then Krishna knocks you over with life. But to some degree, I feel like we can gain both confidence and assurance and faith by just simply putting ourselves through some austerity. Austerity is like valuable in that way.
But it takes some grit to do it. So that helps.
Or just basically, or you know, help from somebody else to keep you accountable, or just some intelligent management. Like it doesn't necessarily mean it. Austerity is very hard, you know, like it can be something that's easy and simple that we decide to adopt. But please, what about if you're cursed with something?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Just one comment on what you just said. Just do it, right? Even if you don't want to do it, just do it, right? I listened to a podcast recently, and there's actually a myth going around saying that you need to do what you love. And I always thought that too, you should do what you love, right? But the guy on the podcast, I don't remember his name, was saying that this is a complete lie. He said, don't do what you love. That doesn't make any sense. Because what you love will change tomorrow. Like what you love to do now, 10 years ago, I guarantee 10 years from now, I guarantee it's gonna be something different. Maybe next year it's gonna be something different. So what he was trying to say is the same thing. Is that this is like, if you want to be successful, it has to be grit. It has to be hard work. It has to be sacrifice. It has to be austerity. And it has to be, even if you're doing something that you hate. And you know, so we hate waking up from Mangalati sometimes, right? It's like the alarm clock goes off, and it's like, oh my god, you was sledgehammer, smash the thing, you know? And we do not want to get up. We're so tired, right? We just do it. It's such a good point. I love it. I love that point. So thank you. And if you are cursed, it's actually very easy. And actually, these great souls who are all saying this, they were all beautiful. They're all famous. They're all powerful. They're all wealthy. And these people were saying it, right? So the people who were giving these instructions actually had these things, you know? So what did they do? Just look at their example. They utilized everything in Krishna service. That's it. If you're famous, use it in Krishna service. If you have money, use it in Krishna service. If you're, you know, whatever you have, talents, use it in Krishna service. And then the way, when you do it, use it in Krishna service, you connect back to where those came from. Like, I'm not beautiful. I'm not wealthy. I'm not powerful. I just think I am. You know, I'm not. I know who's the doer, you know, I know where it all comes from. So if you use it in his service, then you realize it's not yours. It never was. It never will be. And this isn't. It's separate.
So simple. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, because the thing is, it's hard to know it's not ours when we have it. But if we use it in his service, then it's easier to know. That you start, let's say, you know, you're talented in music. You start using your musical talent to serve Krishna. Then it's easier for you to know, actually, you know what? This is not me, this is Krishna. That realization will come. Yeah, is there time to go now? Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Panchaj Vishnu Bhagavatam ki jai.
Bhakti Govinde Namah Bhakti